Hello, and welcome to this introduction to the National Science Foundation. This presentation is designed to give you a very brief introduction to NSF, our organization, and our budget outlook. Hopefully, the information I provide to you today will help put many of the other conference sessions that you attend in context. My name is Dr. Quadira Dantro, and I'm the Division Director for the Division of Institution and Award Support in the Office of Budget, Finance, and Award Management, or BFA. BFA has many responsibilities, from implementing policies and procedure for the entire proposal and award lifecycle to making all the awards to your organization. I'm going to talk about NSF as an organization. I will provide some budget information and funding trends, and I'll also provide you some links to key documents. As you attend other sessions throughout this week, I encourage you to ask your questions early and often. NSF was established by Congress in the National Foundation Act of 1950. As an agency, our mission, according to the statutory NSF Organic Act, is to promote the progress of science, to advance the national health, prosperity, and welfare, and to secure the national defense. And we do that by supporting investments across a wide range of science and engineering areas. Let me provide a high-level overview of NSF. NSF is an independent agency. This means that NSF is outside of the cabinet agencies. NSF supports fundamental basic research and education and all the non-medical fields of science and engineering. Our governance is the National Science Board. The members of the board are appointed by the president, and it includes 25 members, including the NSF director. It's a very important aspect of NSF being an independent agency. The NSB has two roles. The NSB establishes the policy of NSF within the framework of applicable national policies set forth by the President and Congress. It does this by identifying issues that are critical to NSF's future, approves NSF's strategic budget directions, and the annual budget submission to the Office of Management and Budget, and approves new major programs and awards. Also, the NSB serves as advisors to the President and Congress on policy matters related to science and engineering and education in science and engineering. In addition, NSF has a special hiring authority to bring Intergovernmental Personnel Act employees, or rotators, from the research community into NSF on a temporary basis. This keeps NSF connected to the communities that we serve and ensures that we have new, fresh voices coming into the foundation. Most of the awards that NSF makes go out as grants. However, we also award cooperative agreements, contracts, and fellowship. NSF is divided into 8 directorates that support science and engineering research and education. We also have an international office to coordinate international engagement and collaboration, as well as an office of integrated activities that manages large cross-directorate and agency-wide programs, such as the established program to stimulate competitive research, or EPSCoR. The Office of Budget, Finance, and Award Management, where my organization is housed, and the Office of Information and Resource Management both ensure that the agency's operations are running smoothly. The NSF Director's Office also houses the Office of Equity and Civil Rights, or OECR, which works across the NSF-supported community to eliminate harassment and promote diversity, inclusion, equal opportunity, and access. The numbers on this slide are based on the fiscal year 2023 actuals. In 2023, NSF supported about 1,900 organizations and over 353,000 people. We received about 39,000 proposals each year, and we selected over 11,000 for funding. This means that we declined about 28,000 proposals in FY23. Many of them passed over due to a lack of funds rather than merit. Awards are determined through a merit review process, regarded throughout the world as the unequaled standard of scientific review. It relies on expertise of accomplished scientists to ensure that all NSF projects are the highest quality and have the potential to advance the frontiers of knowledge and transform our world. We must be doing something right, because in the last count, NSF-supported researchers have received 261 Nobel Prizes. Although NSF invested in all those laureates based on research long before they were recognized by the Nobel Committee. This slide shows NSF support of academic basic research, only basic research, only in academic institutions, and only federal funds. As you can see, NSF is a major federal funding source for academic basic research. In the case of computer science funding, almost 80% of federal support comes from NSF, although many government organizations work to ensure that the U.S. leads in research and innovation. We partner with many of them on research initiatives. NSF is a major funder of institutions of higher education in many critical fields, ensuring that crucial research areas continue to grow, furthering the nation's leadership. The fiscal year 2025 budget request totals more than $10 billion. You can take a deeper dive into the NSF budget on our website, but I wanted to take the opportunity to speak briefly about NSF leadership when it comes to science funding at the federal level. If the United States wants to continue to lead in research and innovation, we need to invest in both fundamental research and translation. We need to create the technologies and the jobs of the future through such investments. We also need to ensure that we have a workforce, a broad workforce, who are prepared for the jobs of today and tomorrow. Many of you may know about the CHIPS and Science Act, which NSF believes can unlock science and technology breakthroughs to drive our economy and national security for decades to come by expanding the geography of innovation through regional innovation, investing in domestic STEM talent like never before, strengthening the lab-to-market pipeline, and by increasing funding for the basic science and engineering research that lays the foundation for the future. Now for a few more specifics about the NSF 2025 budget request. NSF has 6 separate appropriations accounts that you see on this slide. The majority of the funding is in the Research and Related Activities account. The programs funded by the STEM Education Directorate, or EDU, have a separate appropriations account. There are also separate appropriations account for major research equipment and facilities, agency operations and award management, that funds salaries, systems, travel, and conferences such as this, and the Office of the Inspector General and National Science Board. They also have separate accounts. What you're seeing is the current plan for fiscal year 2023, the enacted budget for the current fiscal year 2024, and the request for fiscal year 2025. Each fiscal year starts on October 1st, and Congress passed NSF's appropriation on March 3rd, 2024. That means we were under a continuing resolution for 5 months. NSF's current plan, or spending plan, is finalized and transmitted to Congress in May. All of the fiscal year 2024 funds will be available after negotiations with congressional appropriators. What this slide shows is the number of days it has taken each year before NSF receives its full appropriation. In the last 30 years, since 1993, there have only been 2 years where we began our fiscal year with a full year appropriation. In fiscal year 2024, we were under a continuing resolution for 157 days. Since 1993, the average number of days before receipt of appropriation is 92. Since 2016, the average number of days is 127. What this means is that we work through about half of the fiscal year operating our prior year's funding level. That means we have a lot of work to do between when NSF receives its appropriation and the end of each fiscal year to get all those funds issued and awarded. Now that we've talked about all the funding, what are your chances of getting funded? On this slide, I've provided the last 5 years of the number of proposals we've received and those that we were able to fund. You can see that it's ranged between 26 to 29%. In fiscal year 2023, we were at the top of that range at 29%. There are many factors that contribute to this, and you should also know that the success rate varies significantly across NSF by directorate and by program. But again, it does drive home the impact of what I stated earlier, that NSF is only able to fund about a quarter of the proposals that we receive, and that for many of them, it's not due to them lacking merit, but because NSF has limited funding to support the good ideas coming to the agency. For the last several slides, I've been talking mostly about what happens on an annual basis. However, NSF is actually managing an award portfolio that spans multiple years. What that translates to is a portfolio that's over $37 billion in total award funding, 47,000 active awards, and over 3,200 awardees. When it comes to award oversight, many of the people who you'll be hearing from throughout the grants conference are working on the items listed in this box on the right side of the slide. It shows the activities that NSF is engaged in with our awardees throughout the award lifecycle. This oversight includes pre-award reviews all the way through audit resolution. And if you have questions, there are people here who can help answer them for you. There are several resources for you on this slide, many of which I touched upon today, and many of which you will hear mentioned as you attend other sessions at the conference. Whether you have questions during this conference or later, we are available to get your questions answered. Ask us early and often while attending this conference, and ask us early and often after you leave. NSF staff contact information is available on the NSF website at nsf.gov. I also want to point out that NSF is always looking for rotators to join the foundation and contribute to the progress of science. Information about those and other career opportunities are available online at new.nsf.gov/careers. Thank you, and we look forward to hearing from you.